Let's get on and build it.
Thank you, Mr Chair. Well, for generations, it's been the Kiwi way. The right for New Zealanders to be able to raise a family and have a secure place to live, even through the Depression years. That was something that New Zealanders were able to aspire to and to do, but not under John Key's national government. No more. And I'm not talking about people at the lowest end of the income bracket even. I'm talking about people who regularly come to MPs' offices who are on decent wages, who are in the middle brackets of income, who are telling us that they cannot afford the unaffordable housing costs that are going on under this John Key national government. And the government members opposite are so out of touch that they have used this debate to explain to New Zealanders that it's not even happening, that their reality is not a reality at all, that government is arrogant and it's out of touch. And we have the government in this debate about social development and housing celebrating the reduced number of people who are receiving benefits. Well, the Labour Party would join them. The Labour Party would join in that celebration if those people were coming off benefits to go into paid employment. But they are not. And there is no celebration in celebrating people being denied benefits to end up in the food bank. And Alfred Naro, in his contribution, recognised that that is what is happening. He talked about going and visiting the Salvation Army to find out how much the food bank needs are increasing in the communities that they serve. That's nothing to be proud of. That's nothing to be proud of, Mr Naro. Your government is putting more and more families through the food bank system off benefits straight into the food bank, and that is not the vision that the Labour Party has of a brighter future for this country. Mr Chair, talking about housing, we cannot ignore the unaffordability that is continuing to creep right throughout New Zealand under this national government. It used to be confined to Auckland, but because of that government's failure to fix or even recognise the Auckland housing crisis, it's ending up in many other communities. In my own community of Hamilton, today the New Zealand Herald announces that in the last year, house prices in Hamilton have gone up by 34% in 1 year alone. That's on the back of the previous year that the house prices had jumped 21%. So do the maths. 21% the year before last, and on top of that, another 34%. It's no wonder MPs are seeing people coming through their doors in droves saying that they cannot afford to buy into the market and they cannot afford the increasing rents that come off the back of that. But at the same time, here's the big kicker. The government is selling off the state housing stock. So the people who normally would fall out and drop out the end of the private rental market now have no safety net with state housing. That government is pretending that they are not privatising. They are absolutely privatising the state housing market, and they know it. Because here's a cautionary tale. Normally these come from overseas, but this is a cautionary tale from New Zealand. They are doing exactly what they once did with the rest home sector. They pretend to give it to charitable organisations. Those charitable organisations do it to the best of their ability, but find that they struggle quite quickly. And guess what? Within a decade, we found that those rest homes are almost all now in private hands. That's exactly the path that that government is using to privatise state housing stock and to get it into their private investor mates' hands. So we continue to see a government that's focused on actually supporting people who want to hide their money, that want to actually find taxation loopholes in a country like New Zealand. We're becoming a tax haven, for goodness sake. That's where that government's priority is lying, rather than actually addressing the issues that are affecting everyday New Zealanders. Hard-working New Zealanders who, as I said before, are on modest incomes and on middle incomes, and increasingly finding it hard to make ends meet on even the higher level of incomes because of that government's failure to act. Mr Chair, it's not rocket science. When there is a housing crisis, we need more houses. And we need more decent houses, and we need the government to act. The market is not fixing this one national. It's not fixing it. And we know that the National Party sits on its hands and believes that the market will deliver. It's failing.
I call Derek